Hello students, today we have to start with the chapter number 3 from geography portion, class 10th, water resources. Students, as we have already studied resources and development in the first chapter, right? So here we have to study particularly about the water resources. Resources, as we all know that we had already discussed that everything which is available in the environment which satisfy human needs, that is basically called resources. Now in this chapter basically we have to discuss about water resources, means how much water resources they are basically available for the use, right? So how much water resource we are having on the surface of the earth, that we have to basically discuss in this chapter, right? So in this chapter means first of all we'll do the introduction part related to the water resources, then we have to do that water scarcity or we can say shortage of water, right, and the need for water conservation and management, means why it is required to conserve and manage the water resources. Then third that we have to discuss in this chapter, that is basically we can say multi river projects and integrated water resource management. At the end we have to discuss rainwater harvesting. So these are the key points related to this chapter which we have to study. Now the first point, that basically introduction, that is related to the water resources, means students, water is it is basically the type of renewable resource, right? So we have already done related to renewable resources and non-renewable resources in the chapter 1. So there is no need to explanation regarding renewable resources. So renewable resources, or we can say that means the resource which can be renewed again and again, right? So we can say that through hydrological cycle we can renew water resources. That's why we used to call it as a renewable resource. So the earth surface is basically covered by water, that we can say 3/4 of the earth part is covered by water resources, and we can say that a small proportion of water can be used only. So fresh water is mainly obtained from surface. Now 3/4 we are talking here, means we can say means this much land part is covered by we can say by the land portion, and rest is basically we can say the water resources we are having. So we can say on 3/4 part of the earth surface that basically covered by water resources. So we can say that means approximately 96.5%, or we can say approximately 97% water resources, they are basically we are having saline water, right, and rest 3% is basically we can say that is means we can say 4% that we are having, that is as fresh water which can be used by the human beings, and that is basically available in the form of surface water, or we can say in the form of ग्राउंड वाटर, मतलब वो ग्राउंड वाटर या फिर सरफेस वाटर के फॉर्म में अवेलेबल है जो हम जिसको हम यूज कर पा रहे हैं. एंड आउट ऑफ दैट वी कैन से दैट means 2% water, or we can say 2.3% water, that is in the form of ice and glaciers, right? So we means the usable water which we are basically using, that is somewhere around 0.66%, or in round figure or approximate ideas we can say that only 1% water is basically available to use, right? So in surface water basically we can say the water is available in the form of rivers, lakes, ponds, right? In these all forms basically we are having the availability of surface water. So in India means we can say that approximately more than 10,360 rivers we are having, means some small and large rivers, and so many important lakes we are having. So ponds, in these forms basically we are having the availability of fresh water, and groundwater is mainly available under the surface of the earth, right? So I hope you understand this basic thing. Then fresh water resources, rainfall, or we can say surface water. So precipitation means we can say that India is receiving 4% annual precipitation of the world. So we can say that small proportion of rainfall of the world we are basically means basically we are having that in India. So rainfall, surface water, that as I told you that we are having in the form of lakes or ponds. Then we can say means the next topic, that is related to water scarcity and need for water conservation and management. देखो स्टूडेंट्स, इससे पहले इस टॉपिक पर हम चलें, इससे पहले हम कह सकते हैं इन सिंपल वर्ड्स कि अर्थ सरफेस के ऊपर मींस 71% अर्थ सरफेस के ऊपर हम कह सकते हैं कि हमारे पास वाटर रिसोर्सेज अवेलेबल हैं, लेकिन उस 71% का हमारे पास में जो यूजेबल वाटर है वो बहुत कम वाटर है यूजेबल, राइट. सो डे बाय डे मीन्स वी कैन से सो मेनी एलिमेंट्स आर देयर ड्यू टू विच दिस वाटर इज बिकमिंग शॉर्ट. मतलब इस वाटर की कहीं ना कहीं स्कार्सिटी आ रही है, इस वाटर की कहीं ना कहीं शॉर्टेज हमारे सामने आ रही है. सो वाटर स्कार्सिटी मीन्स वी कैन से दैट शॉर्टेज ऑफ वाटर. इन सिंपल वर्ड्स वी कैन से इट इज बेसिकली वी कैन से शॉर्टेज ऑफ वाटर. सो इट इज यूजुअली एसोसिएटेड with several regions having low rainfall or ड्रॉट प्रोन एरियाज. ये हमारे उन रीजन से भी, उन रीजन्स की वजह से भी वाटर स्कार्सिटी है हमारी कंट्री के अंदर, क्योंकि हमारी कंट्री के अंदर जो एवरेज रेनफॉल है दैट इज ओनली 125 सेंटीमीटर्स, राइट. बट इन सम एरियाज वी आर हैविंग, एज वी हैड ऑलरेडी स्टडीड इन 9th class related to the climatic conditions, there we have studied chapter number 4 if you remember, means in some areas we were receiving rainfall less than 10 centimeter, but in some areas we were receiving rainfall means over 400 centimeter, but in western part of Rajasthan we are receiving very less amount of rainfall. Even in the Leh or Ladakh, that in that region also we are receiving very less rainfall. So due to that we can say that means our means water resources, they are shortage as compared to the population, or we can say as compared to the uses by human beings. So there are several regions which lead to scarcity of water. बहुत सारे ऐसे रीजन्स हैं हमारे पास में जिनकी वजह से हमारा वाटर रिसोर्स कहीं ना कहीं शॉर्ट होता जा रहा है, जहां हम कह सकते हैं उसकी डिमांड इंक्रीज हो रही है और उस डिमांड के अकॉर्डिंगली वाटर रिसोर्सेज कम होते जा रहे हैं. सो द फर्स्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग दैट वी कैन से दैट इज large growing population. Means our population growth rate is very high as compared to other countries. So we can say large growing population is one of the reason due to which water resources they are becoming shortage. Means allocation of resource, that is basically we cannot say, we can say that that is basically we can means that is not proper allocation we are having, due to which water is becoming shortage. क्योंकि अगर पॉपुलेशन ज़्यादा बढ़ती जाएगी तो वाटर रिसोर्स की डिमांड इंक्रीज होती जाएगी, और अगर वाटर रिसोर्स की डिमांड इंक्रीज होगी तो कहीं ना कहीं एक प्रॉब्लम जनरेट करेंगे, क्योंकि वाटर रिसोर्स एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट रिसोर्स है. वी कैन से दैट फॉर लिविंग बींग्स, फॉर लिविंग ऑर्गेनिजम्स, वी कैन से वाटर रिसोर्स इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट, right. Then second we can say that we are requiring water resource for irrigation also. Means our, because basically we can say our approximately 67% land part which is under cultivation, that is means basically we can say that is rain fed area. मतलब हमारा इतना पोर्शन हमारा रेनफेड एरिया के अंदर आता है, जिसकी वजह से हम कह सकते हैं दैट कंप्लीटली लैंड पार्ट इज डिपेंडेंट ऑन रेनफॉल. सो in that land part, if we are cultivating crop in Rabi and Jaith season, in those seasons we require water for irrigation also. And we can say that in agriculture our large population is dependent. So again we can say in agriculture sector water resources, they are very short. Then great demand for water with growing urbanization and industrialization. We all know that industrialization is increasing day by day in our country. We can say that secondary sector and tertiary sector, they are growing at very fast rate in our country, and even urbanization is also increasing in our country at fast rate, as we had already discussed in 9th class, if you remember, that 31.8% population is nowadays, according to population census 2011, it is living in urban area. And we can say migration, we can say rural to urban migration is taking place at high rate, due to which we can say that urbanization in India is increasing at fast rate. And if the urbanization will increase in India, then we can say that that population will also require water resources for their use. So we can say great demand of water with growing urbanization and industrialization. That is very important, we can say, reason for that we are basically requiring water resources. And then we can say that use of water by industries which also require water to generate hydroelectric power to run them. So we are also generating hydroelectricity through water resources, and several industries require water resources to generate hydroelectronic power, right. So over exploitation of water in the urban areas, that is also one of the reason due to which water is becoming scarce, or we can say the water is becoming shortage, which is not basically not fulfilling the proper demand in the urban areas. So over exploitation means हम उसको ज़्यादा यूज़ कर रहे हैं, मीन्स ओवर यूज़ कर रहे हैं, जितनी हमें रिक्वायरमेंट है उससे ज़्यादा हम लोग वाटर को यूज़ कर रहे हैं. तो ये भी एक इम्पॉर्टेंट रीज़न है जिसकी वजह से हमारी कंट्री के अंदर वाटर रिसोर्सेज की शॉर्टेज आ रही है. तो वाटर रिसोर्सेज की शॉर्टेज इन सारे रीजन्स की वजह से बहुत ज़्यादा है, तो इनके ऊपर कहीं ना कहीं हमें मैनेजमेंट करना पड़ेगा. सो आई होप यू अंडरस्टैंड दिस टॉपिक, राइट. देन some means we can say negative effects of over exploitation of groundwater resources also we are having. So we can say that pumping out more water from, or we can say more water from under the ground may lead to falling ground water levels. अगर हम ज़्यादा वाटर रिसोर्सेज जो ग्राउंड वाटर रिसोर्सेज हैं, देखिए ग्राउंड वाटर रिसोर्सेज की हम बात करते हैं, सो मैक्सिमम ग्राउंड वाटर वी आर बेसिकली यूजिंग इन एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर. वी कैन से दैट अप्रोक्सीमेटली 90% ऑफ ग्राउंड 92% of groundwater we are using in agriculture, right? So means we can say that means if we are pumping out more groundwater, then it will also put negative impact on water resources. Means basically if we'll more pump out, means if we'll do more pumping out of groundwater, then we will do over exploitation of that water. तो groundwater हम कह सकते हैं कि हम agriculture में 92% कर रहे हैं और 5% हम उसका utilization कर रहे हैं industrial sector में, and only means very small portion we are using that in the domestic use, that we can say only 3% we are using in the domestic, right? तो ग्राउंड वाटर को इस तरीके से हम एक्सप्लॉइट कर रहे हैं. सो इट बेसिकली वी कैन से दैट इट विल अफेक्ट द वाटर अवेलेबिलिटी इन द कंट्री. वो कहीं ना कहीं अगर हम उसको ज़्यादा पंप करेंगे तो हमारी कंट्री के अंदर जो फ्रेश वाटर की अवेलेबिलिटी है उसको कहीं ना कहीं रिड्यूस करेगा, राइट? और वो कहीं ना कहीं जब रिड्यूस करेगा, वी कैन से दैट सर्फ ग्राउंड वाटर मीन्स रिसोर्सेज विच एवर वी आर हैविंग, दे आर बेसिकली वी कैन से परमानेंट सोर्सेज ऑफ वाटर. सरफेस वाटर की कोई इतनी श्योरिटी नहीं होती है. सरफेस वाटर हो सकता है अगर टेम्परेचर इंक्रीज हो जाए तो इवापोरेशन एक्टिविटी की वजह से, या फिर जो हम कह सकते हैं मीन्स जो वाटर साइकिल है उसकी वजह से कहीं ना कहीं वो ज़्यादा इवापोरेट हो जाए, या फिर हो सकता है वो पेनिट्रेट हो जाए सरफेस के अंदर. तो सरफेस वाटर की इतनी श्योरिटी नहीं होती जितनी हम कह सकते हैं कि ग्राउंड वाटर की जितनी श्योरिटी होती है. सो हम कह सकते हैं कि ग्राउंड वाटर की अगर शॉर्टेज आती है तो कहीं ना कहीं वो एग्रीकल्चर के ऊपर इम्पैक्ट डालेगा, और जब एग्रीकल्चर के ऊपर वो नेगेटिव इम्पैक्ट डालेगा तो कहीं ना कहीं हमारी कंट्री के अंदर फूड की शॉर्टेज भी आ सकती है. हम कह सकते हैं फूड प्रोडक्ट्स की शॉर्टेज भी आ सकती है, बिकॉज फूड प्रोडक्ट्स अल्टीमेटली दे आर प्रोवाइडेड बाय द एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर. तो एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर में अगर हम प्रॉपरली इरिगेशन के लिए वाटर अवेलेबल नहीं होगा तो कहीं ना कहीं फूड शॉर्टेजेस हमारी कंट्री के अंदर आ सकती हैं, बिकॉज आर लार्ज proportion of cultivable land is dependent on rainfall, and only we can say 100 to 120 days we receive rainfall in our country. बाकी सारे सीजन्स में अगर हमारे पास में पानी नहीं होगा तो हम कह सकते हैं कि ये एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर पे एक नेगेटिव इम्पैक्ट डालेगा, राइट? सो वी कैन से दैट इट विल ऑल्सो अफेक्ट, मीन्स अगर ये वाटर रिसोर्सेज को कंजर्व नहीं किया हमने तो ये कहीं ना कहीं हमारे इकोलॉजिकल साइकिल पर भी इम्पैक्ट डालेगा. अगर वाटर रिसोर्सेज हमारी कंट्री के अंदर प्रॉपर नहीं होंगे तो ये कहीं ना कहीं फ्लोरा और कह सकते हैं हम फौना स्पीसीज पर भी नेगेटिव इम्पैक्ट डालेगा, जो कहीं ना कहीं एक ड्रॉबैक नजर आएगा. सो वी कैन से दैट we should conserve these water resources and stop over exploitation of groundwater resources, because they are, we can say, we can have faith on groundwater sources because we can say they are basically the permanent bodies, and we can pump out that water resource whenever we require, but we should stop the over exploitation of groundwater resources.